But I think it's more than likely that he's playing around the... He doesn't know about the Grand Maju.
Yeah. And there's 10 cards. Oh, is this an OTK? Because that's how many cards banished now. That's 30 cards banished. That's 30 cards banished. His Eater of Millions gets to attack. Oh wait, no. Because the Giant Rex will come back, right? Because it doesn't Eater of Millions banish the monster.
Yeah.
Oh geez, I have to see how Giant Rex works really quick. Let's bring up Eater of Millions while I find Giant Rex. I'm pretty sure Giant Rex is whenever it's banished, including your opponent's cards.
But it doesn't have to banish Eater of Millions.
It doesn't have to?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's one thing to note. He's no summoning the Grand Maju.
Oh, it banishes it face down.
That's
and it's 12,000 attack with Grand Maju. Oh my goodness! No.
This is actually amazing to see this.
That was the craziest pair of games ever.
12,000 attack Grand Maju.
Yeah, double Pot of Desires over the course of 2 turns. This is actually unreal.
As far back as I can remember, I've always loved card games. From Yu-Gi-Oh! To Magic or Hearthstone. What I love about card games is they're very simple in essence. Similar to a game of chess. But similar to chess, you can delve a lot deeper. But to put it briefly, you just need to beat your opponent by one of the win conditions. But the most common one is to reduce your opponent's life total to 0 over the course of a game. Well, I'm running a little bit short on time, so let's just do this in one turn. Yes, that's possible, and that's an OTK. An OTK is a term used to describe a sequence of play which results in a win in the turn which you play it.
You win in one turn!
Be this from burn or a combination of cards. Now, as you can imagine, these kinds of decks can be hugely meta-warping, and, well, not particularly good for the competitive scene. But obviously, this impact on play depends on their success rates. So let's go back a couple of years. In the game Yu-Gi-Oh! A couple of years back, they released a set called Dark Revelations. In this set, they printed 2 cards which would form my first experience with OTK decks. The deck was generally called Magical Scientist, named after one of the 2 cards that made the combo. Basically, the deck played like so. Summon both Magical Scientist and Catapult Turtle in a single turn. With both of these cards on the field, you could special summon fusion monsters from your fusion deck at the cost of your life points, then tributing them to activate Catapult Turtle's special effect. This would deal half of that tributed monster's attack points directly to your opponent's life points. Repeat this 7 times, then tribute Magical Scientist and then Catapult Turtle, and then hopefully you've done enough damage to win. This deck was fine-tuned quite well and then eventually banned. As you can see, OTK decks typically fall into one of 2 camps. Painfully easy, where the game's creators did not see something incredibly broken, or very hard and complex to play.
Boy, is this deck a deck that needs to be taught. Or unless you want to go through many trials and humiliation.
Now, for those who have not played an OTK deck, may view them as entirely broken and bad game design. And well, for the most part, yes, you're right. But you have to remember, these decks revolve around a certain amount of damage, or a few specific cards, and well, without meeting these criteria, they do tend to flop. Let's take a look at a personal favourite of mine, Exodia Mage. In Exodia Mage, your goal is to assemble the following cards: 2 Sorcerer's Apprentices, 2 Molten Reflections, Archmage Antonitus, Time Warp, and 1 extra spell of your choosing. So let's say you're playing against this deck and you manage to remove any or multiple of these cards. The person playing the combo probably would not be able to kill you in 1 turn, or kill you at all, really. As an example, to play this combo to its full extent, simply play both Sorcerer's Apprentices, which reduce spell cost by 1 each. Now play the spell Molten Reflections on said Sorcerer's Apprentices. This gives you a further spell reduction of 2. Now play the spell Time Warp. This allows you to take an extra turn, and by doing so you refresh your mana crystals. Now on your second turn, play Archmage Antonitus. Then play the spare spell you've been holding onto. This will trigger Antonitus' effect, letting you get a free fireball spell. And by this point, well, you've won. So let's review the board state. On the current board we have 4 Sorcerer's Apprentices, Archmage Antonitus, and a Fireball in hand. Because of the 4 Sorcerer's Apprentices, all spells are reduced by 4 mana, and due to Fireballs costing 4 mana, well, I think you can get the picture. And because you can play Fireball for free, you play Fireball and then you trigger Archmage Antonitus' effect again, giving you another Fireball. Rinse and repeat this cycle until you've killed your opponent. No matter how much HP they have, as long as you don't run out of time, you can theoretically deal infinite damage. But let's say you're on the receiving end of Exodia Mage. If you manage to remove, I don't know, a singular Sorcerer's Apprentice, you've made all their Fireballs cost 1 mana, limiting their Fireballs they can cast on their second turn, which will affect their damage output. Remove another Sorcerer's Apprentice and you're probably safe. As you can see, this OTK is very powerful, but with the right amount of disruption, you can completely nullify it. Another solution could be to play an aggressive deck, so they do not have enough time to assemble all the cards. As we can see from the Exodia Mage, there are quite a few pieces you have to assemble to win. This can work, but most OTK decks plan for this. Again, let's go back to Exodia Mage. In this scenario, Archmage Antonitus is the last card in my deck, basically meaning I can't play my combo until I've drawn my entire deck. This is where a good OTK deck is separated from a bad one. A good OTK deck will have resources and tools to survive until they're able to acquire and play their combo. In respect to Exodia Mage, we have quite a few different cards which will help us draw our combo. The best examples in my traditional Exodia deck would be stool cards. Cards like Ice Block, which prevent death once, or Frost Nova, which freezes all your opponent's minions, meaning they cannot attack on their next turn. Any good OTK deck can be broken down into these groups of cards, which allow them to 1. Play their combo, but 2. Hopefully survive until they can do it. So is there really anything you can do to beat a good OTK deck? Well, I would say a lot of prayer is advised, but if you know what decks are popular and what combos are out there, you can always put in a few tech cards to increase your odds of winning. Although OTK decks may be bad for the game, and they're not enjoyable to really play against, it can be quite impressive how the community can take a couple of mundane cards and combine them in such a way which was not intended. And well, if these decks are really too powerful, there's no need to worry, as the cards are typically changed or banned, so there's no need to fear if you're wishing to play competitive or tournament play. At the end of the day, these decks don't tend to last long or are not very good, so it's good to stick it out and enjoy the fireworks. Thanks for watching.